Hi everyone, I hope I'm adequately audible. We'll wait for 1 minute and start the class. All right. We are here with 10-day roadmap. No, because prelims is very near, and this is the time where you have to revise properly. Okay, and don't read anything new. So I'll broadly tell you what are the things you should hit upon in these 10 days. So without further delay, let's begin the class. So firstly, these 10 days, first important thing is you should sleep well. Okay, sleep well, then revise. Now do not read anything new, okay? So this should be important. Do not read anything new. This was the beginners, okay? Do not read anything new. Just revise what you've done properly before, first thing. And if you want to read something new, then if you read something new, then you have to focus on revising also. Okay, revising. Now, a lot of people ask me, how do we revise? Like what are the areas we revise? Okay, so this should be your strategic revision. You should focus on revising only the important topics, okay? So, just a minute. So, resound was the confirmation. Okay, I started the stream. Scheduling issue under inka resound vastunda. Okay, I'll just give me a second. Sir, ippudu what about now? Ippudu at least vinpistunda. Inka resound vastunda. Okay, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think this is much better. Sorry, cross check. Yeah, this is better, right? Yeah, so is it fine now, sir? This is fine, yeah, fine. I'll start the class again. So guys, sorry for the delay. We had some technical glitch here. I'm new to this. So we'll start it again. So we're here to discuss the 10-day roadmap because there's only 10 days for prelims now. And if you wait till the end, I'll give you a small bonus. So firstly, what should you do in these 10 days? I told you ki bhai, you should sleep well and then revise everything which you've read before and do not read anything new now. And this is for the beginners. So if you want to read something new, go ahead, do it. But once you read something new, revise it also. Okay, but I would strongly advise do not read something new if you're a beginner. Okay, if you're really good at this and you've been doing it since a while now, so you can read something new. But the mantra is to just revise now. These 10 days are simply for revision. Okay, just revise. And regarding tests, I do not advise you to do any tests. Okay, no full length test. However, I'll tell you, if you are not confident enough, no full length tests. But if you are confident enough, I think you should just solve 10 questions or 20 questions in time limit. Let's say in 7 minutes you should solve 10 questions. In 15 minutes you should solve 20 questions. Okay, this should be your goal. Okay, so start doing this and reduce the time as much as possible. And coming to CSAT, if you are weak in CSAT, then this is the time you should work more on CSAT, work more here. And most importantly, what you do here is to do timed practice, and work on PYQs, only PYQs. These days, only PYQs. So if I have to simply summarize, you should revise. Okay, you should revise, plus you should do CSAT practice, which should be timed, and you should have a strong positive mental health. This is most important because anxiety will definitely not help you here. Okay, so let me tell you a small thing. If you're anxious, then do this. Take 2 deep breaths, then leave it with your mouth. Okay, it's like this. Okay, so leave it with mouth, and this, if you do it, for let's say 5 to 10 minutes, it'll help you. Also, just know that this will not help you. Okay, if anything, this will derail your preparation. If anything, this will make you perform. Let's say, you're just going and writing prelims now without any preparation. Let's say you're getting 50 marks. Okay, with anxiety, you'll just make it 40. Let's say you've prepared well, you're getting around 90 marks. You wanted to push it to 100, but anxiety will only make you 70. Okay, so anxiety will definitely not help you. So don't be anxious in these days. Now coming to revision, this is the trickiest part. What do you revise? Do you revise everything? Revising everything is such a bad idea. Okay, it's such a bad idea. You should rather do it in terms of strategic areas. Okay, so strategic areas have to be revised. Strategic areas. Now, what are the strategic areas? Ideally, the strategic areas are from your PYQs. Okay, are from your PYQs. So what I'll do is I'll give you a small list of all the strategic areas here for various subjects, so that it's easy for you to just go read them, and if possible, revise them properly once or twice. Okay, so coming to strategic areas, firstly we'll deal with polity. Okay, so this is for people who are only going to revise in these 10 days with respect to this plan. So polity, these are the areas where you have to must definitely revise. First is all the acts. Okay, starting from Regulation Act 1773 to finally 1935 Government of India Act. So first acts. Then in polity, fundamental rights, very important. Okay, you should have all these articles verbatim from your article 13 to your article 35. Then comes DPSPs. Okay, DPSPs here, you should have it verbatim. These also I would suggest. Then comes your judiciary. So don't read everything in judiciary. Just try and read areas related to Supreme Court and alternate dispute resolution mechanism, ADR. And just a second, I've made a small list of it. Yeah. Then last but not the least, I think you should definitely read parliamentary committees. Okay, parliament, and give a glance to your all the constitutional and non-constitutional bodies. Okay, constitutional, non-constitutional and constitutional bodies. All right, so this should be your, so these 6 areas you should definitely revise in polity. Okay, these six areas are must. So even if you've done nothing, just revise these 6 areas and be rest assured you'll get definitely half of the marks in polity. So it's all about 80-20 rule, guys. So 80% of what you read will give you 20% of marks. Okay, and 20% of what you read will often give you 80% of the marks. But these marks have to be added to your 20% of marks, because this will only make you clear the cutoff. Okay, 80% of marks, I mean, you'll get in general from your 100%, but if you don't give this extra 20%, you can't clear the cutoff. So these are the 6 areas you should focus on. You can take a screenshot later. Then now coming to history. History, I think your focus should be on ancient and modern. Okay, although I'll tell you what you should study in medieval. So ancient you should definitely focus on Buddhism, Jainism, and UPSC nowadays has been asking about Harsha times, okay? Harsha times and his contemporaries, okay? Harsha and his contemporaries, that is something which UPSC has been asking these days. Then, you see, when I say his contemporaries, you have to have complete idea of whoever is in South. For example, there's Harsha in North, there is Pulakesan in South, Chalukyas, okay? And then there are Pallavas also, there are Pallavas here, okay? So all these three kingdoms, and not just these three, here in Gujarat you have Maitrikas, a little about them. So all the contemporaries of Harsha, okay, just this, not much. And finally, Ashokan pillars is something which UPSC has been asking recently. Ashokan pillars and Mauryas. And if you can find a compilation, which most of you have these days, just glance through books and authors. But perhaps most important thing, which we've covered in our class also, it's on YouTube, you can just go watch it. It's about the ports. All the ports, okay, of the ancient times. We've covered this nicely. So this should be your broad, roadmap to go and revise this first, okay? See, I'm not giving you a exhaustive list here because the idea is to make you revise only the important topics so that you can get more marks in very less time. So it's like a high reward game. Okay, then coming to modern here. Firstly, you should have behind spectrum there is an appendix, okay? There's an appendix where there is a list of all the Governor Generals. And whatever are the important events under them, okay? Important events. Governor Generals and important events. Then comes education, whatever happened in education, Hunter Commission. Then you have Wood's Dispatch, all of these things. Okay, Rayleigh Commission. Then, importantly these days, Portuguese. The time when Portuguese and early, modern to medieval phase, the transition is which UPSC is asking. So just remember this thing, UPSC is more focused on how ancient is transitioning into middle. That's why they are asking you during Harsha period, okay? And then they're also asking you how medieval is translating into modern age. That's why they're asking you during Portuguese period, early European age, all of these things. So Portuguese is something which is very important. Have all the Governor Generals of Portuguese in your mind. It's first Francisco de Almeida, Alfonso de Albuquerque, and de Cunha. Just know whoever has fought with whom, okay? And have an idea about all the peasant and tribal struggles. It's very simple. Peasant and tribal struggles you just have to know the leader, the year, the area. That's it, not more than this, and any small significant aspect if there's happening. For example, you have Santal rebellion, then there's an act of Santal Paragana Act which came 1856. Okay, so you just have to know these things in peasant and tribal rebellions, and this should do, if you just revise this, it should be fine. And when it comes to medieval, you should focus on Vijayanagara Empire. Very important, Vijayanagara Empire. Okay, so revise it all, and you have to see travelers in this Vijayanagara Empire, whoever came, and you have to see which king has done what. For example, you have Devaraya 1 doing some stuff, then Devaraya 2 doing some stuff, okay? And Sri Krishna Devaraya, all the dynasties here. So don't focus much on political aspects, just focus on what are the activities which they've done, okay? Whoever came during these people's reign. So Vijayanagara is something which you have to revise. And then there have been questions asked on early Delhi Sultanate rulers, okay? Early Delhi Sultanate rulers. So just have an idea, early Delhi Sultanate. Now, finally, when it comes to Mughals, it's just almost always about Akbar and Jahangir, okay? Akbar, just do this, Akbar, Jahangir plus Aurangzeb. I think this should be fine. Just read during these periods and you should be good. So this is about medieval. Now we'll change the topic. It's when it comes to environment, the most important area should be undoubtedly all the acts, because these days we are seeing a lot of acts in question. WPA Act, Wildlife Protection Act, that recently it was amended, right? And then there is Environmental Protection Act 1986. You see, in that there is a body called Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, and then there's another body called Central Groundwater Authority. UPSC has asked on both of them. Then there is National Wildlife Board here. Okay, so read all the bodies. Then there are schedules here, in which schedule we have recently amended schedules. Now there are only 4 schedules, 1, 2, 3, 4. So have an idea about all of these things, acts, and then national parks. So this is now is the time to revise your maps properly. Okay, revise your maps and just have an idea about which national park is in which place. Then Ramsar sites, and one of the important topics is energy. So if you can find any aspect about energy here, this, although it comes in S&T also, so any current affairs or which you've made notes for energy, that you should revise. And most importantly, animals here. Okay, have an idea about who is vulnerable, who is endangered, and who is critically endangered. And critically endangered is most important. Have an idea. And all of these animals, just have an idea about these animals. Don't try to mug them up. Just have an idea which animal belongs. For example, cheetahs were introduced in Punapalpur. Okay, Kuno National Park here. Cheetahs were introduced. Now they are being shifted. At least few cheetahs are going to your Mahatma Gandhi National Park. This is near Chambal, on Chambal Basin. That is something you should know. And so these are the things which you have to know a little. And there's nothing much in environment apart from this. These are the most important areas. Environment. Now we've covered animal behavior in our previous lecture. This is on YouTube, so I would really urge you to go watch it. Animal behavior is something which I've covered, and that lecture should do a lot of help to you. If there's one question, I'm sure that the probability is it will come from that area only, or even if it doesn't come from that area, at least you can eliminate some options if you just watch that lecture. It's a small lecture, you can just go have a look. And environment is done. So when we come to S&T, it's straightforward. I think space is in the news, and defense sector, although it is in the news now, but don't focus much on this. Okay, but exercises have been asked. Okay, so we've covered it in our current affairs class, so that should be fine. Exercises, and space is in the news. So have an idea about space, and most importantly, nuclear technology. Okay, nuclear, because in the budget there was an announcement about small modular reactors, right? So just study about that, and then UPSC might ask you what is fusion, what is fission, all small things. And biotechnology is not been asked since like last 1-2 years, but still it is an important topic. If you have notes, then just revise biotechnology. Okay, so that is something you should know. And what else is there in S&T? Then there is there's a chance that GPTs can be asked. Okay, chat GPT, so cyber IT. So just if you have some notes, just make sure you revise them a little, not much. Environment is done, S&T is done. Coming to economy. Yeah, economy is something which I would want to focus, and this is also with the bonus now. So economy, you should focus on financial markets, because these were in the news. And then huge role about fiscal. So if you have notes about fiscal, then read your fiscal. And inflation was also in the news, so everything about inflation. So economy is an area where I would strongly urge you to do PYQs in these 10 days. Okay, so if you can do PYQs of economy a lot of times, if you can understand everything from PYQs of economy, it'll be of a great help, because in economy PYQs are most important, and for you to understand every single aspect of it, only PYQs can make your life very easy. Okay, if you go and read standard books, it's very heavy, very bulky. So I would suggest go to YouTube, go to any PYQ solving video, and just watch it, try to understand it. So economy PYQs are something which is more, what do you call, recommended if you are weak at it. Else you can just revise it from your own notes. So financial markets, fiscal, and external trade. Okay, there can be question about external trade, and there was huge furor about the trade war, all of these things. So have an idea. Economy, I'll deal with the bonus now, but before that we'll finish the subjects which are left. Which subject is left? Yeah, geography. So from geography, I don't think you should worry much about this geography, because honestly 10 days there's not much you can do really. But I would say climatology is an area where you have to revise, and then there is oceanography. You can also focus a little on maps here regarding hills, rivers, especially when it comes to Ganga and Brahmaputra. Just have an idea, because Mahakumbh is in the news and they can ask you. Okay, so maps, oceanography, climatology, and let's just keep it simple for geography. If you want, you can just go to PYQs. Geography and economy, I think PYQs are a little important. I would say just do PYQs for geography and economy in these 10 days, and that should make your life easy. So this was all about all these strategic and important areas. I'll quickly scroll through and we'll give you some time for taking a screenshot, because once you revise all these areas, what happens is you'll get a lot of confidence when you enter the exam hall. Okay, and you'll not feel okay, I've not studied much, honey. So you'll just feel more confident. And once you do these, if you don't really understand what to do in these next 10 days, you just do these. Okay, keep on revising. That should be fine. And this is your environment. So this is all about strategic. See, you cannot revise every single topic now in these 10 days. So I would suggest just revise these things, and it should be enough. Just have some blind faith and revise these things. It'll help you, because at the end of the day, you can't revise every single topic. If you're doing it, it's great, but ideally it's not a cup of tea for everyone. Okay, it's about history here. And finally we have polity, important areas. So now I'll get to the bonus part. So if you've stayed this far until this video, so you deserve a bonus. Firstly, I'll quickly give you a very short, I'll not just say very, I'll say very, very short summary of your economic survey. This is something I can do from my side very quickly. So I hope people who are watching it and who've not studied economic survey can get some help using it. So firstly, in economic survey, our thing should be, what is a GDP? Okay, what is a GDP? Although UPSC might not ask you directly what is your GDP, but you have to have an idea. So our GDP at nominal rate is 324 lakh crores. Okay, 324 lakh crores. So I'll draw a graph here. So our GDP at nominal prices. Okay, our GDP nominal is 324 lakh crores. Okay, 324 lakh crores. And then you have our real GDP, which is only 185 lakh crores. Okay, 185 lakh crores. So just have an idea where we stand. This is in terms of our GDP. Now we don't understand our GDP unless we compare. So when we compare, we have to do it in dollars. So India is now the fourth largest economy according to some reports. Okay, fourth largest economy. We have surpassed Japan. However, economic survey says that we are still fifth largest, because economic survey was a little in February, right? So let's just stick to what economic survey says. So first is obviously USA, with some $27 trillion. Then is China with roughly $18.5 trillion. Then third, very surprisingly, is Germany, not Japan. Germany, because there are a few things which happened in Germany and Japan, wherein Japanese yen has fallen down, and its GDP also has fallen down a little when it is compared with dollar. So this is $4.7 trillion, and fourth is Japan, which is again $4.2 trillion, and we are not much far. We are right here on the fifth spot. We are $4.1 trillion. Oops, my bad. $4.1 trillion. This is India. Okay, we are fifth largest economy, and according to a lot of reports, we will be by 2027. We will be the third largest economy. Okay, so that is Morgan Stanley's report I'm referring to. And now general trends which are observed. See, you have to have an idea about all these trends. So first trend is that there is moderation of inflation globally. In economic survey, it is written that there is moderation of inflation globally. Okay, that is something you should know. And the global growth. Okay, so we'll see at growth. So the global growth is roughly 3.3%. Okay, 3.3%. This is global growth. But India's growth, see, when I talk about growth, I talk about real GDP. Okay, roughly around 6.5%. That is India, and this is real growth. Okay, this is real growth rate, not nominal growth rate. Okay, this is India, and we are definitely not the fastest economy, because there are a lot of small economies which are fastest, but we are definitely the fastest growing large economy. Okay, fastest large economy. Okay, even above China, fastest large economy. But when we absolutely take, we are 11th in the race. Okay, there are, because very small countries, for example Macau comes first, then there is Guyana, very small countries which are on the top 1 and 2 spots. Okay, they are very small countries, to be honest. So then I told you, in all over the globe there was moderation of inflation. And the other important aspect is key. There is you have to know the contribution. When I talk about GDP, what is the contribution? So GDP may first the contribution of our primary sector. Our primary sector is 20%. Okay, what does our primary sector comprise of? It comprises of agri, livestock, fish, plus forest, fisheries and forestry. Okay, this accounts to 18% of your GDP. And others, mining and quarrying, very important, guys. Mining comes under primary sector. Okay, mining comes under primary sector. This accounts to 2% of your GDP. Okay, 18%, 2%. And then there is the secondary sector, which accounts to roughly around 25% of your GDP, in which manufacturing, very sadly, manufacturing accounts to 14% of your GDP, and construction accounts to 9% of your GDP. This others are very small. Okay, others are there here. And then your tertiary sector, which is your service sector, which accounts to 55% of your GDP. So if I have to write in this also, we have real estate plus finance plus other professional services. This accounts to 23% of GDP. And others such as you have trade, transport, tourism, all of these things account for 17% of GDP. See, this is like huge. This itself is 40%. Okay, and then others such as others, public administration, all these others make up another 15%. That's it. So if I have to quickly tell you, I'll draw a small pie chart here. You can also make it in your books. Small pie chart. So 20% is by our primary sector, 25% is by our secondary sector, and 55% is by our tertiary sector. What is the highest subsector? That is definitely real estate, finance, and other professional services. Okay, 23% is what its contribution is. Now coming back to GDP again. GDP is made up of private final consumption expenditure plus gross capital formation plus government final consumption expenditure plus net exports. That is your exports plus imports. Net exports minus imports. Okay, now every single contribution of the component is also important. Your private final consumption expenditure accounts to your 61% of GDP. That means whenever there's slowdown in your private consumption, which is the case now, it affects our GDP. And your gross capital formation, this has been on a decline trend. This is 31% of the contribution. Government capital formation, this is our government expenditure, simply 10%. And net exports, we are minus 2%. Exports are roughly around 22%, imports are roughly around 24%. So this is something you should know. And coming to other aspects about this, okay, what else is left in economic survey? Yeah, so I can tell you this thing, that apart from, so when it comes to GDP, apart from 2020-21, we saw, apart from 2020-21, we saw a significant rise. We saw a significant and steady rise. Okay, there is a steady rise. Okay, apart from that particular year. And that's it about the GDP aspect. Now we'll look at other aspects here. Coming to budget. Okay, what about our budget? So when it comes to our budget size itself is 47 lakh crores. Okay, our budget size is 47 lakh crores. From that we have revenue, and then we have capital. Although the size is not really much important, but the capex is, when I talk about cap expenditure, that is 10 lakh crores, and then revenue expenditure is 37 lakh crores, right? Because it's 47 lakh crores in the end. And then the revenue, this is expenditure, this is receipts. Revenue receipts are around 31 lakh crores. So revenue deficit is roughly 6 lakh crores. And your capital receipts are just 17 lakh crores. Okay, so 16 lakh crores. Okay, that will balance it. 16 lakh crores. So these are all the approximate numbers which I'm telling you. So this should give you a snapshot of what we are actually dealing with when it comes to budget. I'll just quickly see what I can tell you next. So yeah, there have been a few terms which have been discussed in the economic survey. There is something called as Engel's. So there are two terms here: Engel's law and Engel's pause. Okay, Engel's pause here. So Engel's law basically deals with whenever your income increases, the percentage of spending on food, decreases. Okay, the percentage of food spent, so the percentage of amount spent on food decreases. And there is Engel's pause, wherein wages are stagnant despite increase in productivity in the economy. Despite increase in productivity. So this is something you should know. And I think that is the very, very short summary of your broad economic survey. And we'll deal with a few important key terms, key reports right now. I'll quickly give you a few reports which have been mentioned in economic survey. So RBI releases two things here. First is your financial inclusion index. That is something RBI releases. And then there is policy uncertainty index. Okay, policy uncertainty index. Both of which in 2024 we performed fairly well. We got score of 75 in this, and we decreased our score in this. That is a good thing because uncertainty has to be decreased. Okay, decreased our score in this. And there is another important aspect about trade. When it comes to trade, we export our largest export destination is USA. Our largest export destination is USA, and we have a favorable trade with that. Our largest import destination or largest import source is China. Okay, our current account deficit roughly is around 1.2% of GDP, and it's pretty stable. It's 1.2% of GDP, and it's pretty stable. And when it comes to our financial sector, that is bank, health, वगैरह, it's getting very good. Our gross NPAs are at your 12-year low, roughly around 2.6%. And then there is our CRAR, that is capital adequacy ratio, that is roughly around 16%, and it's very good. And here we also see that FDI inflows last year have increased. Okay, despite dip in 2023, FDI inflows last year have increased by 18%. Although the number is not at all important, just know that FDI inflows have been increased. Okay, and then when it comes to your agriculture growth, that has been only very modest. It's 3.5% only. Okay, you see economy grew to 6.5%, agriculture growth is only 3.5%. Okay, that is a cause of concern here, definitely. And there are certain terms which have been used in economic survey. Let's not get into all these things. I'll try to give you a very short summary of, and this time we've seen a peculiar thing where we saw educational spending has exceeded your health expenditure. Obviously this happens all the time. It's not very unique, but health expenditure is a cause of concern, which is 1.8% of GDP only, and education spending roughly is around 3.3% of GDP. Okay, so this is not even a short summary. This is like a very, 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 very short summary. Very, very, very short snapshot of what things look like, and especially in the context of exam, because we can't study entire thing in 10 days. So I try to give you a very short context of what to be focused in economic survey and what are the trends you should go about. And if you just have this in your idea, it'll be helpful for you, not just in prelims but also in your mains answers, and this will form a base for you to read the economic survey going forward, and not worry about numbers which are crunching a lot. So that's it, guys. That's it from my side. I didn't want this video to be long. This is a video where you can just pick the important topics from this video, revise them, get confidence, and just go score. And definitely Rohith sir later will make a video on what should be your mindset when you go to the exam. So we'll have a video very soon. But yeah, for now, this is a 10-day roadmap and a very, very small bonus in the end.